Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Blue Exorcist chapter 125. When we last left our heroes, we were continuing the fight with Rin and Yukio, specifically with Rin giving into his demon half, which I incorrectly stated as him being possessed by Satan, which was absolutely incorrect. Thank you, whoever that was who corrected me last month. But he gave him his demon half, nearly killed Yukio, until the last minute, Rin's human half took control again, and decided to just physically separate Yukio and Satan by shaping his flame into the Koma sword. Satan pushed back, it led to this big tug-of-war battle, a big explosion happened, and the chapter ended. So, all that being said, let's jump right on into chapter 125 of One Cloth Disrupt. And we open on Lucifer, who eyes like jolt open and says, "Father, Commander." Homare runs up to him. Homare, Satan is. Then Homare fills him in what's been going on. Satan is rampaging. The ship is in danger. We must evacuate. Prepare to disembark. Yes, ma'am. And Satan stops her. No. Everyone is still working. I must not leave. At least not until the elixir is complete. And Homare stops him. The research can continue later. We need Satan for creating the new world, but you must be there for that to happen. But, and then just then there's some like creaking in the room that they're in. There's no time, hurry. I think this is a Homare's henchman. And then we see Agen, the little shark boy, as one of some other Illuminati soldiers comes up to him. Agen, there's an order to evacuate. You go ahead. I'm in the middle of something. This is I'm trying to read what that says. Romtio 14, I think. This is Romtio 14. That sounds right. I don't know. That text is way too small, and I'm doing the Shueisha horizontal thing, so the text is like itty bitty. Rom 11014, I think is what that says. Please respond. It's no use. Dominus Limitus isn't responding. Oh, it's Dragulescu, who is still on his way there from what happened in Romania. Way back when. That was a long time ago. And Dragulescu looks out the window. What is happening down there? And his plane flies over the Dominus Limitus. What should I do? And then he hears a noise at the front of his plane, and we see a handprint on the window. Ugh. And then we cut back to Shima, protecting Konako from that big explosion at the end of 124 with Yamantaka. First, let's talk about Dragulescu real fast, and whatever the fuck is going on up there. My first instinct when I see a pressed hand against the glass and sounds of like pain and a grunt like that is like a zombie. That's my first instinct. And we know that Dragulescu was working with zombies, wasn't he? Am I mistaking? Am I getting my arcs confused? So that might be what's going on there. I don't know. I don't know why a zombie would be in the pilot in the cockpit, but I don't know. Anyway. Shima just protected Konako with Yamantaka. And then Satan continues, "Oops, that was crazy. Oops, I almost destroyed the place that's making my body. Heh. You got me excited, so I overdid it. Oh well." And he looks back at Rin, who's kind of slumped down. And then he wakes up. "Ow! Now you've done it!" And Satan just laughs. Hee ha ha ha. Get angry. Get furious. You still have untapped potential. And Yukio's is kind of wide-eyed. I think maybe that Rin survived that, possibly? The potential to be my vessel. And Rin just looks at him. Huh? And Konako and Shima just like gape at that. And Yukio thinks, I doubted it, but maybe it's true. And then Rin, speaking of a vessel. And then Yukio stands up and calls to Konako and Shima, Miwa and Shima, Did you hear that? And Rin is, like, confused that they're here. Oh, huh? Why did you two come here? And when? Rin just has no idea. They've been watching the whole time and making a lot of noise. So yeah, before we go any further, we need to talk about this potential to be my vessel bit. Does that mean that Satan wants to make Rin his vessel? Especially because I thought he was going to get an artificial body from the Illuminati. But maybe any body the Illuminati could give him would have the same problem that all of Lucifer's bodies have, and that they're just kind of a big ol' mess, and they're always falling apart or whatever. So maybe like if he got someone with his own blood, that he would like it would be a better vessel or something. I don't know. Anyway, the ship is going to crash. This is still Yukio. At least Miwa should escape. But no! The Kamikakushi key will work for anyone, so give it to him. And then I think this is Rin. Fine, or maybe it's Shima? I can't really tell. The hair tone seems to be Rin, but Rin's ears are very horizontal, and those ears seem vertical, though the ear shape still seems to be Rin. I think it is Rin. Fine, but what about us? And then Yukio yells at Rin, "Don't let Satan possess you." And then Satan starts to laugh. Heh heh. Ha ha. He he he. Four Eyes, do not forget that I'm allowing you to live. And we see this bright light shine from Yukio. As more flames like sear the ground around Rin. Yukio is sent flying. Yukio! Whoa, on the ground where Shima is starts to like crack apart. Yeah, and you kind of like falls into it. Yikes, we are so screwed. Konako falls somewhere else. Shima! Konakomaru! And then Satan continues. Now, what shall I do? Shall I kill everyone here? And Rin lunges at something that might be Yukio, like Yukio's shoe that we're seeing. Like we see a little bit of flame wisp away from Yukio's shoe. No, don't! And he goes to, get his recreates the flame sword and stabs it into Yukio's eye. It's no use. This is too big to stab with. Calm down and concentrate. And Satan eggs him on. Go on. Kill him. You'll feel better. Wahahaha. Concentrate. Okumura. And then, this is Konako. Use this! And he tosses the Koma sword to Rin, like he's been trying to do for the past, 15 chapters now. Is it fixed? No, it's empty. Huh? But Osama said it could come in handy. And we see Shima, who's holding up something with his staff. I'm sorry, there's so much tiny text, and he should have brought a fucking magnifying glass for this chapter. It's coming loose. I don't like this. Handy for what? Rin asks. Shima is still holding back something. Oh no. Yeah! This is Konako. For controlling your... And just then the ground gives out under Shima and Konako. Konako, by the way, has been holding on to Shima this whole time. For controlling your flame! And he falls into the crack. See ya! Is Shima. Gah! And Kuro, who is still there, by the way. I've been inside the bag this whole time. I don't like this was Kuro, who was on Konako's head. But just then, he pops back to his big size. Why does this always happen? And Rin calls down, Kuro, help them. You're pitiful. Oh no, I think this is Satan. You're pitiful. Do not rely on this. It's merely a fetter. And just then, the hilt and the sheath go flying away into the abyss, where I think the same place where Shima and Konako just fell. Do not accept any limitations. Show me again how much you're like me. He. Unleash yourself. And Yukio shines again. The ground is just basically gone now. There's a few scattered rocks everywhere, and that's really all there is for the hangar. The light is at this point visible outside the Dominus Liminis, and basically takes out the back half of the Dominus Liminis. And then back with Lightning's ship, Lightning sees the explosion. Look, there's smoke. We're missing the best part, so get a move on. Take a seat, Lewin. This is, the big guy? Is that Osceola, his name? I think it's Osceola. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Osceola is him. Tells him, take a seat, Lewin. And Ryuji just looks at them all. Calm down, guys. And then we see, we cut back to the rubble of Satan's latest attack. And Rin and Yukio are, like, hanging over the abyss, barely holding on. And Satan tells Yukio, tells Rin, let your younger brother go. He too is but a feather, and he is warping into a monster. He's even disappointed in himself. So let him go. And Rin just holds on for dear life. Let's take a look at this. So, this claim he is warping into a monster? I thought Satan was the one doing that. Like, if Satan wants nothing to do with him now, if Satan's new goal is to possess Rin instead of Yukio, then Yukio still is in desperate need of therapy. But he's physically mostly fine, isn't he? Unless there's something I'm forgetting. I don't know. Let's keep going. So let him go. And then Rin pushes him off. Just lets him go. Okay. Yeah, you actually did it! And then Rin jumps off. So, hold on, where is Satan then? Because if Satan was still talking to Rin, and Satan should still be in Yukio's eye, I mean, maybe he's just calling out to him. But I'm not entirely sure what Satan's plan is here. But anyway, Rin jumps after Yukio. Huh? And then Rin stabs the eye again with the flame sword. You stubborn fool. You cannot help him now. And then I guess Satan, breaks off the flame sword and, physically separates the two of them. So give up. And Yukio continues to fall away. And Rin starts a burst of flame again. Yukio, if you give up, it's much easier. But Rin thinks to himself, My salvation has been people who never gave up. And he flashes back to what he saw of Yuri, what he saw of Shiro, him growing up with Yukio when they were children, and then he grabs, I think this part, the collar of Yukio's shirt. Oh no, he grabs him by his pants leg. And then he sees the hilt of the Koma sword. So I can't either. And he reaches for it, hand coated in flame, and grabs it. And the sword, the hilt, he creates a new blade out of flame, as flame, lights up around Rin. And then goes on to Yukio, and with the new actual flame sword, stabs Yukio in the head and the eye. And Satan screams, Gah! Where did you get such a flame? No, this is still Satan. You were once a baby peeing your pants, so you can't possibly. Gah! 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 Ha ha! Your brother already has the mark. It looks like this is actually working now that he's got the hilt. So I will soon return. Ya ha ha ha. And I think it worked. This is one of those scenes that's gonna be super cool once it gets animated. If it gets animated. It's super cool right now, but it'll be incredible once this gets some animation to it. I am not doing it justice with my descriptions. But either way, the two of them are still stuck, falling into space. Actually, before we continue though, this line about your brother already has the mark. what is that? Because any mark Yukio had, I thought was just Satan, trying to use the eye as a peephole. Unless he's saying that the eye, because like one of the things we see as this conflict is going on, is Yukio's irises that have this kind of jagged shape thanks to Satan's possession, turn into a normal circle. So that's the closest thing to what the mark could be from my memory, unless I'm forgetting something very obvious like I did last month. But that seems to be over if his iris is back to normal. I don't know. Maybe the rest of the chapter will give us some hints. Either way, the two of them continue falling. And then they land on the ground. And Yukio seems to still be lying down, but Rin has stood up. And he asks, Yukio? And Yukio stirs a little bit, which comforts Rin some. Good, you're all right. I hope Kuro and the others are okay too. And then he looks out at the wreckage of Dominus Liminis. What a disaster. Maybe this will slow down Lucifer's plans a little. And then I think someone else comes in. Though the speech bubble between Lucifer's plans a little and the next line are connected, so maybe not. I don't know about that, but thank you for temporarily removing Satan's interference. Yeah, so this seems to be a Yukio line, but Rin turns back. Yukio? And he's pointing a gun at Rin? The Armumahel gun, I think it was, the black flame gun? I fire 9 shots at this prototype, yet the battery remains 2/3 charged. What do you think will happen if I pack that whole charge into one shot? And he shoots Rin? What? And Rin, hits the ground and, slides, clatters into something. And then Yukio wakes him up. Wake up, there's no time. And he's lifting this beam that's on top of Rin. Satan could come back at any moment. Can't you do this with your monstrous strength? And Rin responds, I feel sort of weak. I'm glad to hear that. What do you mean? Now you're basically normal. I know this is a Yukio. Now you're basically normal. And so am I until Satan returns. Now we can have a fair fight. And Rin just looks at him. Oh, right. You got a chip on your shoulder, Rin. About that, Yukio cuts him off. I'm going to set matters straight. Next chapter hits November 3rd. Okay. What the fuck is going on in this final scene? Is beyond me. So let's handle that later. Let's worry about that at the end. So in this chapter, it felt like it was going to be the end of Rin versus Yukio. I can't talk about this chapter without talking about the ending. Let's handle that one first. Also, I've talked about the rest of this chapter extensively already, so let's just focus on that last scene here. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck Yukio's going for here. It seemed to me like this whole thing, right, was about Rin killing Yukio, wanting Rin to kill him so that he can be free from Satan's influence, right? So why does he want a fair fight? Why does he, what is this part about? Also, here's the interesting thing. Yukio now has 2 different colored eyes. The eye that Satan was in is lighter than his other eye. Do I know what that's about? Maybe that's the mark that Satan was talking about right before he faded away. And that's why Yukio knows that Satan will return. On page, I think it's 33, he says Satan could come back at any moment. But yeah, I don't, but if, so the thought that I'm going towards here is that Yukio's plan Yukio still wants Rin to kill him. Yukio still wants Rin to kill him so that Satan no longer has a vessel. But then, why make Rin weak? I don't know. So maybe, hopefully next month we'll make things a little bit clearer there, because right now, Yukio's final decision is just kind of weird, and I'm not following his thought process whatsoever. But the rest of this chapter is great. Like that final scene of Rin and Yukio and Satan all falling together is such a great climactic moment. It's a shame that it's not actually the climax. That the fight still goes on when they hit the ground. But Rin grabbing the sword, using his flame to create the blade, stabbing it through the Satan eye, tearing Satan out of Yukio, grabbing him in the hug as they fall. It's fantastic shit all the way through. But then we have the end of the chapter, and it's just so weird, and I don't have any idea where Kato was going with this. So maybe again someone will come up with the comments and illuminate me, because I'm missing something very obvious. Certainly possible. But until that happens, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot else to say. This was a great chapter, a fantastic climax to, at the very least, this part of the arc. I'm sure the fight is still continuing next month. But for now, it's just, a fantastic sequence of events. And I'm hoping that whatever comes next, I hope the next chapter clarifies some things for me. Until then, I fully trust Kato to make this all work. That's what I'm gonna leave off on. So that's all I gotta say for this chapter. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or do whatever makes you happy. And remember, your life is your own. Okay, bye.